lost control, made me feel like there was no tomorrow. Should've told you that you're beautiful, but the days pass and now it's so long ago. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I'm growing old, but I need you to deal with my sorrow. Just a memory, just a broken frame, and I know that I have no one else to blame. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it and did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now?
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hi, Paul. It's oh my goodness, things are beeping at me. It's that time. It's 5 o'clock. It's Sunday, the 7th of October, and it is time to spend an hour trying to get better at CAD. I hope you will join me. Fire up Fusion or whatever you're using to get out a project. Spend a little bit of time on this Sunday afternoon improving that skill set. That's what I'm intending to do. It's been a somewhat productive day, but on a very limited set of things for me today. I think my plan for the next hour is I want to spend a little bit of time playing with text on a path. I had a look at that yesterday, flailed around a little bit. I have spent a bit of time today actually looking up some more advice on that. So I'm going to kind of run through a couple of those things using Inkscape to put something on a curved path, and then using the sheet metal environment to get text on a curved surface. So we'll run through that. Then a couple more bits on the vacuum manifold that I really need to tidy up before I try and set that to print. And then probably playing more with that kitchen knife idea kind of thing. That's my plan. Let me know in the chat what you are working on. And we'll get on with it. First of all, what have I been doing today? I spent a little bit more time tweaking the hammer. Couldn't quite, axe even. Couldn't quite help myself. More than a few people pointed out that the axe design as of yesterday was a little bit phallic in the handle shape. I tweaked it a little bit more this morning because I was refining that grip. I found where my palm hit, I wanted a bit more relief, so I carved that in and I kind of gave myself a bit more space. And I trimmed up the handle a little bit, gave it a bit more of an angular look. I may keep tweaking, I may not. I think pretty good. I was playing around with splitting up some old dry cherry branches just to kind of get a feel for it. Couldn't help but put a quick little video of me smacking it up. I'm really happy with how the edge has held up on this. Like, I was warned by the blacksmith who taught the course. Obviously, this was just a mild steel, low carbon steel. Couldn't really be hardened. So I kind of expected I might get a bit more denting or sort of blunting even from relatively small use, but it's held up pretty good. Other than that, I spent more time on the ridiculous door project, which it's killing me. It's killing me. Indeed, it's a perfectly family safe axe. That's what I like to think. So Where did I take the blacksmithing course? It was, it was in, or just outside of Letchworth, and I would have to go and look up. There's like a farm there, and a guy runs a blacksmithing course. I would have to look up the details for you. But it was awesome, and I highly kind of recommend having a go if you can find somebody near you offering courses. The guy I went with did a day course. We made these toasting forks that sort of showed a bunch of kind of technical detail, or other kind of skills in tapering and squaring and rounding and all this kind of stuff, which he walked us through step by step. My wife did it as well, and it was cool. And then for the second half of the day, he was like, make whatever you want to make. And so I said I'd like to make an axe head. So he helped me kind of figure out how to do that. And it was awesome. And obviously I've enjoyed making the head to my axe. So I've got Inkscape loaded. I'm going to create a path. I'm going to create some text and put it on the path. And I'm going to import it into Fusion. And we'll see how that works. I think this should be fairly straightforward. I'm just not sure how exactly to make. There we are. That'll do. And now I'll tweak this around. Let's make it a bit more kind of curvy. My wife is really the random pathy looking thing. Somehow I managed to end up with straight lines and curvy points. I don't kind of really understand Fusion in that regard. Not Fusion, Inkscape in that regard. Okay, so very boring line. Let's create some text. Text. Make a geek. I wonder if we'll have room for CAD like nobody's watching. Yeah, give me more size. Can I? Oh, why did that disappear off the end of my text? It's all there. If I do that, CAD like nobody's. Okay, that's weird. Okay, nevertheless, what we're going to do is select the path and select the text, and somewhere there we are. Put on path. Marvelous. Well, I really do want to find out why it's not giving me all of my text. Have I run out of space? Maybe. If I get rid of that for a second. Length of text is longer. Yeah, apparently I lose it after a certain amount. That's interesting. This is where I should just ask for somebody that knows better. Okay, well, I'm not that fussed about it at the moment. Let's just do that for now. And we'll put it on the path. Oh, no, I need to select them both, I think. Text on path. Boom. That's a little bit funky. That'll do. And save as SVG. Let's do that. Text on curve. We'll just put it on the desktop for the moment. So, let's have a new design. Insert SVG onto here. Go find our text on curve. And, oh, that's interesting. So I have the curve, but I don't have any text. well. It is a mechanical keyboard. You can obviously hear it in the speaker. It's not a gaming keyboard. I just really like, when I'm working from here, I can get away with having a really antisocial loud keyboard. It's just really lovely to type on. It really is. It's a joy. I've had it for a while, and compared to sort of mushy, quiet keyboards, like just having that tactile click is the business. Okay, why didn't I get my text on the curve when I asked for text on a curve? Did I manage to export the wrong item? Let me see about that. Replace it. Possibly, maybe I was just selected on the wrong thing when I did that. Ba, 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 ba. Sadness. They're just giving me curves and no text. Why? This is not the part that I thought I was going to have problems with. That's peculiar. What if I... Oh, maybe, do I need to convert the text to... I need to turn it into a path or something? Object to path? Because like I have a funny feeling that might be it, that like it can't export it as a font, but it needs to think of it as a set of paths. Let's try that. That rings a bell, actually, that you have to do something with the font. Let's try that again. Hey, there we are. That was it. You need to turn it into paths before you can have it. Okay, so let's do that. Actually, might get rid of the liney bits, or maybe I'll just accept. Right. So now then, now where it gets a bit more interesting. I was just watching a YouTube video which explained a method for using the sheet metal environment to get yourself a curved surface. So let's make this 100. So the basic idea was create yourself a circle. Oh, yeah, I kind of want those sketches to be unrelated to each other. Let me forget that. Go away. I want to create a new sketch, please. Stop sketch. You can be one sketch. Create a new sketch on here. Thank you. So create yourself a circle of a certain size. Take a little notch out of it, like so, by creating two lines just close to each other. So we'll offset that line, and then turn these into, well, I guess I was going to say turn them into construction lines, but it doesn't really make any difference. I guess I've obviously killed it. Okay, well, there you go. So I've ended up with, come on, you as well, construction lines. So you end up with just this sort of slightly incomplete circle. Now, sheet metal, create a flange, and extrude this up to be, I don't know, let's say 20. So now you have this thing, and now apparently to do folds you need at least some section which is flat, which is why you cut this little notch so that you can extrude out a panel, and you end up with, in theory, a little flat bit. He says not being able to select the little flat bit. Let's see if this works anyway. Then you can say unfold. No, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Did I not extrude it properly? Did I? Oh, I didn't offset faces. What is? Maybe that's a problem. Should I have done an a proper extrude rather than offset face. This is why it's important to go through these things yourself, to be like, what is going on? Okay, let me go get rid of that. Forget that. I think I often get into this problem between offset faces and extrude. I actually want it to extrude, whereas I think offset faces was doing too good of a job. Okay, and I don't want to cut, I want to join. Right, yes, there we are. So now we have a little flat notch on the end. That's what we're looking for. So now that we can do that, you can say, take this bad boy, select his flat face, and unfold everything. So now you have what was a circle, and you now have a flat section. Now what I want to do is take this sketch, and I want to redefine his sketch plane. Oh, of course you would like hide everything from me. Okay, I don't want to. Can I not? You know what? I'm just going to import the damn thing again. I'm sure there is a nice way that I can import onto this surface. And of course you've hidden everything behind there. Let's scale him up. Scale him up a bit more. That's the other thing I remember about Inkscape, is that you import things and they end up in the relative position that you had for the A4, and so they end up in the middle of somewhere. Anyway, okay, so stick him there. Now let's extrude all of our letters and shapes and join them, not cut them. So there we are, a nice raised text on a thing, and then refold faces. And what we should have, oh, it's on the inside. But what we do have is perfect text on a curved surface. That is pretty cool. Now, that was the example that I found on YouTube, and I really should have made a note of the guy that I watched. If you search for like text on a curved surface, I'm sure you'll find the same video I did. Now, I'm curious to know how far I can go with that. Like, can I make like a really... I mean, I've never used the sheet metal environment. I assume that you can create folds of all types, flatten them out, put text across them, and then refold them. That's quite an interesting idea. So this is now a weird kind of a body. What does that mean? It's a manifold. So if I go back to the model environment, what is it? So it thinks of this as a type of thing. I'm just curious to know whether that can be exported as an STL like that? No, it can. So I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you have to figure out which side to be on to get your path, but you can both have it kind of on an interesting path and also around a surface. Yep, someone on Fusion 360, that's exactly how he did it. Put the text on the inside. I think I want to have a quick go with whether or not I can make a more interesting manifold. So let's get rid of that for a second. Can I make a manifold off of this crazy line that I made? A flange. Why did I say manifold? I think I've got the idea of manifold on my brain. Okay, well that didn't work. Or could not create a valid result. Try adjusting the values, changing inputs. Okay, that's no good. What if I draw? Yeah, so that's lines. I'm just kind of trying to think how I could get a more interesting shape than just this. Maybe that's time for another day. Time is a ticking. I don't want to spend it all on this. Text on cylinder. Okay, but that's kind of cool. If you get the hang of probably do some kind of cool stuff. I'm wondering if you could do spirals. Yeah, I think I couldn't extrude the line because you're right. There's nothing to it. Although the doing off the circle was off of a single line that had no thickness to it. It gained the thickness automatically as part of making it a flange. Anyway, quick return to this. So I was just quickly gonna try again to get this little reductor whatnot mirrored around the place. I've come back to the point in the timeline before I joined it. I did earlier. What did I do? Oh, I have to go back to the end of the timeline. But I have created a little bit more clearance on the inside and created like a little seated part for the bottom of the interior, which I think will help with the print. And in fact, if I look at this, so this was me slicing earlier. So you can kind of come down through this. See, it does put some supports on the interior spaces, but that's kind of okay. But what I realized when I did this earlier was that I hadn't quite separated the two components at the bottom. They were going to get welded together, which is not very easy to see in this view. But in this view, you can see here that before it gets split out, I'd kind of messed that up. So, and I remembered at that point that I also hadn't made the reducer collar all the way around. So quickly then, let's pattern that bad boy. Circular pattern. That's the object. This is the axis, blue axis. Okie dokie, I think that should all be okay. Marvelous. So if I return to the end, what I should find is, although I don't have the chamfer on the other two, I do at least have that ready to go, so we can put that chamfer in and join them as well. In fact, let's combine them right now. You and come on. Turn off the interior piece. I want to select. Did I just go to the wrong one? No. Fine, I'll combine them one at a time. Whatever. And we'll combine this guy, and then we're almost done. It's always tempting with a really long print to just sort of rush to the point that you can hit go on the printer, but I try to be good and remind myself that it's better to have dotted the I's and crossed the T's than to set off a print that then wastes a whole load of time. Okay, and blend it back. I can't remember if I did how well I did it on each of the sides, but that's whatever. Construction planes are in my way. Cute. No, not that. There we are. So let's get in here. Right, that might actually be finished, which is a miracle after the amount of time I've spent faffing with it. So that everything's got a little bit of a reducer to help the airflow. We've got our bracket. There's now more like a mill clearance on the interior. This surface here is the bottom of the internal piece, which hopefully gives us something to give a support against, which I can also rip out easily enough. And I was thinking that once printed, I might even be able to stick like a rubber O-ring in this gap between here and here, like, which would give it something to sit on, which would hold it in alignment and would also give it that little air brake. Oh, well, you know what I mean. Stop air from going around the outsides. I think that that's done. I think it's done. It's good. The only thing I need to figure out is, when I come here. When I when I combined what was a component body with another body, it started to make it not part of my component anymore. Come on. Oh, fine, just create a component for it. So I realized at some point that you can only export multiple STL files. I think this is true. Or multiple disconnected bodies in a single STL file if they're components. You can't do it from the normal list, which is kind of odd, but whatever. The first time I had that problem, I ended up actually connecting two things together just so that with a tiny, tiny little cylinder, just so that I could hold them in their relative positions. But then I found out you could do it through components. So let's just export this, and that will be that for the moment. Where are we? Vacuum hose vortex selector gate. That's the business. So now if I come here and we'll just quickly drop that object out of the slicer, reload it, keep all the same settings, and go slice. Hopefully that will be that when it loads. So yeah, that's going all right. I still need to think about this whole kitchen knife design. Such thoughts. It's taking its time. It's a bit of a complicated model. It's definitely going to take it more than 24 hours to print, so I also need to think about when to print it, because as much as I don't mind the printer running overnight when I'm here, I'm not as comfortable leaving it running when I go out to work. Just, I don't know, that, as safe as they are, I feel like that's just asking for trouble. Hurrah. Okay, so what we need to see is whether or not we have successfully left these components separate at the right point. And that is really hard to see. Let's go to layers. That does not look... that doesn't look right. Although, or is that just... Is this support material? It might be that it just ends up on the same support material. Tricky. That definitely looks like it ends up connected. I do not want it to end up connected. That would be really irritating. Okay. I'm not going to continue worrying about that for now. I've spent way too many of these fiddling around with this idea. I'll fix it at some point this week. We'll get it printed next week. I'm going to try and have the physical thing to show people. That would be ideal. Right. So back to knife ideas. And specifically, I think what I was thinking about this was how I want to create a filing jig to go with this. I was thinking about this earlier. Like I've got, I didn't bring it up. So I have these hand files. So I had this idea of creating a set of clips that would clip the file into, that would run on little runners. This doesn't make any sense. But just basically try to hold it in exactly the right plane. So you have a 3D printed base that you put the metal of your knife into, that would initially just hold it so that the right amount of waste material is held above the plastic line, and then a jig such that you can only move the file in that plane and within the confines of the blade. That was a really terrible description. Maybe it will come clear if I get that far. But I feel like that's where the potential comes from, is this idea of I'm just going to adjust this whole kind of rubbish handle idea. Yeah, just the potential to build essentially a jig which is exactly for the thing you're making, if that makes sense. What is a good handle shape? Maybe that. I feel like with a chopping knife you definitely need that clearance. What is that clearance? Come on. 13 mil. One. How big is my finger? Yes, Philip, exactly. The jig will stop me filing the jig away and will hold it within the right confines. So let's see, if I'm shopping, got a grip, gonna measure my finger. It's quite wide. 19 mil if I'm like clenched around something. But I don't want to take too much meat away from this. So hang on, this whole thing is 30 wide. So I guess if I can afford to make this, stop measuring. I can afford to make this like half to give myself a little bit of finger room. Can I insert a point? Insert a spline fit point. That's what I want to do. And yeah. Okay. Let's assume that that's a better up that. Come on. Oh, did I disconnect the point somehow? Why can't I connect? That's weird. Somewhere I've managed to lose the notion that that is actually a excuse me, a joined sketch. I love how parametric this whole thing is, and the fact that you can come back and modify stuff. But it has to be said that I do seem to spend quite a lot of time when I do go back and edit things, break everything, and then spend ages trying to be like, what did I break? Why is it not working? Why would that curve no longer do the thing that it's supposed to do? Why are you not It's killing me. It's killing me. So sometimes when that happens, you find out if you zoom in that the points aren't really on the lines, but they are. Did I break it when I added a new point? But that shouldn't have done anything. Another day in Dan is flabbergasted by why Fusion does slightly peculiar things. Did I manage to connect it to the wrong thing? Let me delete some of these constraints. Go away. Go away, constraints. I don't like you. Don't understand what is going on. I can't do anything now. Fusion is not happy with me. So that's definitely... Can I not get rid of that? I think I caused myself problems when I first moved that point and it snapped to the end of this constraint line, because I don't think that's a real thing. Was it a constraint line? It was a constraint line. It's just a distance marker. Yeah, I feel like I've had this problem a number of times where I spend a while being like, what, is it on the wrong sketch plane? Is it connected to the wrong thing? I can't see the fact that I can't modify this point anymore makes me think that I've caused grief beyond grief. So I'm just going to Control Z my way back to the point just before I did that. See, at this point, it knows that this is an enclosed shape. So that's my theory, is that somehow I managed to... So if I put it up there, and let's... What did I want to do? I wanted to insert a... Like... I can't even remember how I did that. Oh, right, yeah, let's just say okay to the move copy. That's good. We've still got shapes. That's excellent. Insert a spline fit point on there. Okay. Right, there we are. So just going to curve that around like that. That is so weird. Okay, now we're happy. So why on earth would it let me snap it to a constraint line if that then like renders it somehow not connected to the sketch plane? Fusion, you've got some splaining to do. So something else I did do yesterday after playing with this a little bit was I went and looked at my kitchen knives and realized that they don't typically taper all the way back. They have like a little I don't even know how to describe it, like a little hilt line, I guess, like a little wedge line that's not that's not down to the blade. So I think I want to put that in, and I should probably put it in before I do those two things. So let's sketch onto here. I'm going to make it like that. And how did I do? Oh, because yeah, so I split this whole body into two separate things. So maybe I'll do the same with this. Split that body. And then we'll roll forwards. Except, oh, yeah, because I just want that edge, thank you. And, oh, oh, that's interesting. Ah, right, yeah. Because I need to fix this up, yes, sorry. It just takes a little bit of time sometimes for the brain to catch up with what's going on. There we are. So then we have this, which would be probably rounded, I guess. Chamfered. Come on. I just want to chamfer this fella here and this fella here. I'll fillet it rather than chamfer it. Book. Like that. So the plunge line, is that what it's called? But yeah, I guess it prevents your finger running into the super narrow edge. So still not completely stoked about this curved line. Now again, my actual knives don't have a flat blade line. There's probably a reason for that. Probably. What I'm worrying about though is that mentally I think this makes sense to me as a shape to file and get a consistent edge on. But if I bring up the point, like if this is a curved line, then does that make, that presumably makes it much more complicated to get that super consistent flat bevel. For the moment, I'm going to try the thing that I was thinking about doing yesterday, which is defining a plane at a tangent to that face to create some cylinders that would like scallop out little shallow dishes from that, which I think is what I want to do. Is it is it a tangent plane, or is it just like plane at an angle? Can I do plane at an angle and select that face? Why? That's super annoying. Again, sometimes my brain obviously doesn't work right, because I think the most obvious thing that I would want to be able to do is say, I'll give you a reference plane which is a face on my thing, and I just want to define a plane that is at an angle to that. But that's not what it does. Plane along a path, plane at offset plane, no. Japanese chef's knives, the flatter edges on a blade, Europeans for more curved blades. Interesting. I did not realize that was a regional difference. I'm sure I have seen knives that essentially have a straight edge, whatever you'd call that. I'm sort of toying between what I think I can make well and what will look good. Plane through 3 points, plane through 2 edges. Point through. I don't want an. Oh, I want. Could I do? No. Plane through 2 edges. So that I can select that edge, and that gives me the plane. Okay, that's a start. So that is the plane that the knife blade geometry is on. Okay. Now, plane at an angle. Can I do plane at an angle? No, can't do plane at an angle to another plane. Why? Can I not just say, give me the plane that is 90 degrees to that plane? That's not helpful either. So, can I do what I want with this plane in this orientation? Probably I can. I just need to think a little bit about it. Let's sketch a slot on the new plane. So let's do that and say 5. Oh, that's a good point. I could probably do that. It seems out of the way though, doesn't it, Philip? Like, I mean, I think you're probably right. That would do it. It just seems odd to me that there wouldn't be a better way to do it than to have to create an object as an intermediary. Okay, well, I have that geometry. And I kind of... Oh, well, I wonder if I can do this. If I revolve this profile... No. Oh, can I... Where did the bottom of my... See how I've got this and this, but I don't apparently have the bottom one. Oh, there it is. Maybe it just took a while to render. So I was thinking, if I could revolve that around its own center axis, that would give me... But it does not want to let me do that. I don't really understand why it wouldn't let me select it. Can I extrude it? You are also a very confusing thing. What am I... Let me get rid of... Okay. So I think that's the right sketch plane, but it does seem like this line likes to appear and disappear at will, which is confusing me. It disappears when I try and connect. What is that? Okay. So right now, why? This is very frustrating. That this is the second thing in as many in as many minutes that, for odd, sketchy reasons, it doesn't consider itself to be an enclosed profile, even though I literally created it as a one piece. What if I put an arc on this thing? This is the sketch I want to edit. Why? I mean, no, that's a whole new sketch. I don't want a new sketch. I want this sketch. Edit this sketch. Yes. Give me an arc from here to here. If anyone can see what I'm doing obviously wrong, then please do point it out, because for some reason I don't really get, even though I'm literally inside this sketch profile, it does not want to let me do what I think of as a very obvious why does this not think of itself as an enclosed profile that can be extruded or manipulated? What has happened to my... Before I go entirely crazy, I'm just going to try... Okay, we'll put a circle. The circle is a fixed thing. That is a profile. Okay, that worked. Get rid of the circle. Get rid of the pill. I'm just going to come back to the point that that thing doesn't exist anymore. Right. Okay, we're in here. We're creating a slot. Center point slot. You're a sketch. We'll make it, let's say, 15 long and 5 wide. What has happened to the bottom? What? It's obviously been a long weekend. Right. Plan B. I'm going to say 15. And then I'm going to offset that line by 5. Then I'm going to draw 2 arcs. 3-point arc, boom, 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 and repeat that, boom, boom, boom. It's done the same thing. But this is just a sketch plane. There should be nothing special about this. Why the... Can I join them in a straight line? That works. That's okay. That creates a profile. No, that doesn't create a profile. Maybe I need to get on that whole firstborn child thing, so I have something to offer up. I feel like I don't understand. Is a sketch on a plane? I've never had this issue with sketches not doing what I would expect in that regard. Why? Well, it's 6 minutes to GMT o'clock. I feel like I'm going to need one before 6 minutes. At least it's Doctor Who tonight. Circle at the bottom. Let's see about that. If I do that, that's a profile. The rest of it doesn't think it's a profile. Let's try doing a circle at the top as well. 5. So those two things are profiles. You've connected. You've connected. Now you're a profile. Now. So what I want to do, let's try this. Axis through 2 points. You and you. I'm going to do a revolve of this through this axis. And that definitely doesn't work. It was an interesting theory. Okay. But so that I can do these operations on. Why the hell did that not work with a slot? I don't understand how that could be the case. But that has sort of done what I'm thinking. So I was thinking then if I fill it that 4.2. That's the sort of thing you get on blades, right? Like these little recesses. I don't know how I would form that, but like an array of those down the length on both sides as the little reliefs. Little relief. Okay. I'm very confused as to why a slot didn't work. Is a slot a different kind of geometry? It seems like it should just be the same. It seems like it should be the same. Maybe someone who knows more about fusion than me could explain that one. Right, what I do want to do is create this all the way down. Now, what I can probably not do is select it as a... Maybe I can. Let's... rectangular pattern for you and you and you and you. Come on. Like that. Directions. That direction. Let's have 6. Like that. See, now that worked perfectly, spectacularly. Like exactly the way I would hoped it would have done. No muss, no fuss. I briefly thought it might give me grief about the fact that I hadn't really done the same kind of extrude and whatnot, but no problem. And I reckon if I try, I can probably mirror them. In fact, although I need a construction line that's down the middle of this. Offset plane. Offset from here. Minus 1.5 because it's 3 mil thick. So create mirror. I want to mirror faces. All of these. And we'll mirror them onto the other side of the blade. I have literally no idea. Like, this is probably not the shape even that you get on real knives. Maybe I should do more research there. how would you machine this profile? What would you do? Boom. Oh. Now that did not quite work. Back to my favorite compute failed. I don't like it. Okay, well, that's interesting. That it could mirror. I could do it along this line, but it couldn't mirror to the other side. Oh well, I'll worry about that later. We are out of time. It is, with the sound of the beep, it is GNT o'clock. It is very close. Oh, wrong one. It is very close to Doctor Who. Very excited about Doctor Who being back on television. So time to get food in the oven, GNT on the go, etc., etc. Thank you if you have been hanging around. Philip, it's been a pleasure as always. I will be back pretty sure next Saturday at 5 o'clock. I don't think I have anything else pressing in the way. We'll see where we get to by then. I may have printed off my manifold. Hopefully I will have done, or at least it will be on the way. If I time it right, you may... Oh, that would be interesting. Can I time the start of my print on a Friday so that it is finishing during the stream on a Saturday? Interesting idea. Anyway, for now, I will play out. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And yeah, we'll see you next week. This has been Make a Geek. This has been Dan. All the rest of it, you know the business. See you later, guys.
Soon